Okay, Shalom Akim. As always, Kah Halal Yahweh Bashim Yashab Bashim Rahakudash. And double honors to the groups and apostles. Yeah, it is all you can hear me. Well, I mean, I'll find out at the end of the recording. But as you can see here, I had this on my watch list to make a video. It said Elon Musk explains NeuraLink, and this is a YouTuber named Zuby. I just saw this on my recommended section because I don't really watch this guy, but I think he's one of those who do those podcasts. So I heard about the NeuraLink, and I assumed obviously Elon Musk would then make an update on what he's working on. But yeah, pretty much let's just get into it, then I'll bring out some precepts.
I'll be honest, of all the things you do and all the companies you run, I think it's all awesome. The one thing that does concern me, and I know concerns a lot of people out there, so I do have to bring it up, which is NeuraLink.
Sure.
So, firstly, can you explain what NeuraLink is and what the goal of it is?
We put a chip in your brain to control your mind. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so lucky. Before I continue on, of course, it's seen as a joke right now, but really, Esau Eden, that's his main intention, man. To be as a power, to control the minds of the people, man, putting thoughts into people's heads. But I'm gonna elaborate on that later as well.
Concerns not alleviated.
Yeah, there you go. Jump right in. Step right up. Who wants one? No, so NeuraLink, you'll be able to see NeuraLink coming from a very long distance, because any device that you implant in a human you have to go through so many tests. It moves very slowly. You just do a few people at a time, and then you go to extreme lengths to prove safety. You have to go through the FDA approval. So we're not trying to sidestep any regulatory approvals. We're doing everything by the book and with maximum. We're going far beyond what the requirements are of the FDA from a safety standpoint. Mm-hmm. And the initial devices will really just be pretty basic. They'll be about restoring functionality to people who've lost their connection between their brain and their body. So you can imagine, like, if, say, Stephen Hawking could talk, communicate as fast as somebody with a fully functioning body. Mm-hmm. That would be amazing. So that's like what we're trying to do. That's our first application, is to restore functionality to quadriplegics, tetraplegics, and people who have just, for whatever reason, no longer have a connection between, or a limited connection between their brain and their body. Mm-hmm. And then the second application would be restoration of eyesight. So if somebody's gone completely blind, maybe even has lost the optic nerve, you can actually still directly stimulate the neurons in the visual part of the cortex. So you can give people direct vision to the brain. Mm-hmm. In fact, you could actually, depending upon what cameras you use, you can actually see in different wavelengths. Okay. Jordy LaPorte from had that, I actually watched an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation with special effects compared to what we're used to. They're
Yeah, okay, pretty much the point right there, man, is Esau's gonna create those lying wonders. I know through his microchip, through specifically the one in the head, it's prophesied in Revelation 14, which I'm gonna get right now, but I pretty much got that on deck. The thing is, we know that, of course, these things will be used to deceive people. Esau's gonna use those lying wonders, but first of all, let me read the scripture right here. It says Revelation 13, verse 16 to 18, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And of course, that forehead is really referring to the head. So, they're going to imply it in the head, man. Because, in the forehead, really, I forgot what it was called. I think they call it the prefrontal cortex, man. And it's mainly responsible for a core function in the body. I forgot what function it's for, but maybe I should search it up. But it's a core function. That's one thing I'm certain about. I just forgot what it meant. Okay. So prefrontal cortex is connected to many other parts of the brain and is able to send and receive information. So it's connected to many other parts of the brain, man. that already shows you that it's a core part of the brain. It's a very important part. So the prefrontal cortex, right here, is involved in many brain functions. One of the most important is executive function, or the ability to self-regulate and plan ahead. So again, it says examples of executive function include controlling your behavior and impulses, delaying instant gratification, regulating your emotions, planning, making decisions, solving problems, making long-term goals. These are pretty much core aspects of your life for which you have control over yourself. I mean, we all know, that everyone's really playing out the will of the Most High. But of course, in terms of understanding, we know that we have a certain level of self-control which we need to have, man, in terms of body autonomy. Because as I said before, everything's automated by the Most High's programming. But of course, these are just the understanding of things as we live in this world, how the body works. So of course, pretty much imagine Esau then putting a chip in the brain, in the forehead, because as it mentions here in the mark of the beast, it says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And then this is the one that Elon Musk was talking about, his NeuraLink company, which of course will push the transhumanism agenda, which is really what's going to push the mark of the beast, man. This transhumanism agenda, symbiosis of AI and humans, man. Because I remember watching another podcast or video about Elon Musk saying that he's doing it in order to compete with AI, man. How things you have AI which is being created, then you have Neuralink, of which he's saying, just to make it look justified, that that's gonna compete against AI, man. Imagine being in Esau's kingdom, and then of course you're under the Edomites, and then you gotta compete against yourself. So again, that goes into the division against the kingdom, man. Against if a kingdom is divided, how can it stand? I should try to do that. Because obviously this is all, the narrative of which Esau will sell, just to try and get people to get, because it's like, people will come to the point of hopelessness where, if you ain't got some kind of a digital AI tool to then work, then, they're trying to make people get the chip, man, that Neuralink chip, and that's when the mark of the beast is going hard. It's going hard. It's even in Matthew 7 or so. But I say Matthew. The kingdom divided. I might just search it up. Let me try this as well. Yeah, it should be, yeah. Because I remember. If it's not Matthew 12, then. Wait. It's so lucky. Maybe I'm going through this too fast. Let's see. How can Satan cast out Satan? Okay, calm. This is it. So it says here, this was pretty much when Yahushua was correcting the Pharisees with their understanding, with their how can I describe it? With their pretty much wrong understanding, simplistically speaking, because obviously the Pharisees didn't have a good understanding that pertained to that. That's why they were pretty much deceivers. Yeah, but yeah, let me read this. This is Matthew 12 actually. Yeah, Matthew 12, verse 25. It says, and Yahushua knew their thoughts, and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Even reading that alone, I then realized, because obviously I did say it's a narrative that Esau's playing out so that people can actually take the chip. Because Esau's gonna get deep into psychology, man, to manipulate people. Because he's a deceiver. So of course, this narrative here of Elon saying, I don't know if you mentioned it here, but of course, actually, yeah, I think he did mention Well, he will mention it, but I'll probably have to fast forward to it. So, okay, let me check if it's still recording. Yeah, Connor, I was just checking the time because this thing got like max 15 minutes, so I'll probably have to do like even multiple parts or something. But yeah, the point is, he said that the chip really, his intention, obviously, Esau's narrative, you know, will sell out. The whole worshiping Satan and, you know, all under Esau's power ultimately. But the point is, that's going to be the narrative in order to make people get the chip. And of course the chip, and that narrative is currently, is pretty much the chip being used in order to compete against AI. Because, you know, right now AI is going to be something to then displace jobs. So of course, if something can be done perfectly and at a very, very high, very, very efficient way and faster, of course, and cheaper as well, of course, companies and businessmen, they'll then start to use more AI. And of course, that's when, you know, mass unemployment is then going to come in. And little by little, with all these factors that are happening, Mark of the Beast is going to come in. Jacob's Trouble is going to be coming in as well, getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's when things are going to go down, man. It's going to be chaos. And obviously it's going to come in looming, little by little. And ultimately it'll be before everyone's face that you can't really survive unless you got your Habash and your Shire on you, you know, backing you, supporting you. And it'll be made known. But yeah, the point is, you know, the kingdom divided itself cannot stand, but the narrative here really, he's really supporting his kingdom by saying, okay, what's that saying? If you can't kill him, you join him or something. If you can't beat him, you join him. That's pretty much the narrative, simplicity putting it, that he's pushing, you know. If you can't beat him, join him. So with that type of mentality, people are gonna get the NeuraLink chip, and then they're gonna try and, you know, advertise it as being superhuman or whatnot. You know, being able to think fast and you know what he said. Let me actually replay it. I'll replay it. About being able to heal quadriplegics or tetraplegics, which I'll show the definitions to you. And he did talk about restoring vision as well, man. That's part of the lying wonders of Esau, you know, of Satan. Yeah, pretty much Esau comes as the vessel of which Satan uses. Yeah, let me
restore functionality to quadriplegics, tetraplegics, and
yeah. So he said restore functionality to quadriplegics or tetraplegics, and I researched the definition. It says here, Yaratazar, you can see that. Maybe I should zoom in a bit. Maybe that's too much. Actually, no, that's alright. So yeah, tetraplegia, also known as quadriplegia, is defined as the dysfunction or loss of motor and or sensory function in the cervical area of the spinal cord. A loss of motor function can present either weakness or paralysis, which he did mention Stephen Hawking as an example. You know, this guy. Yeah, this guy right here, because he's quadriplegic or slash tetraplegic. So it says a loss of a motor function can present as either weakness or paralysis, leading to partial or total loss of function in arms, legs, trunk, and pelvis. So the point is, you know, just see it as paralysis or weakness, man. Not being able to have that right connection between the brain and your muscles and bones and whatnot. So that's what tetraplegia is. And he's saying that with the chip, people are going to be able to be healed with it, man. And that's part of the lying wonders. In fact, let me actually get that precept too. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do a part 2 to this. Yeah, I'll get this preset quickly, and Yaratazar need to do a part 2 because the screen recorder's got a limit, which is like 15 minutes. Let's see. Let's see. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. You know, with all power and signs and lying wonders. He's there to deceive, man. But yeah, Yaratazar need to do the part 2 quickly. And keep going.